Welcome back to LEGO Wars Series 5. Last time out we concluded our heats with Atlas and Kraken each having scares from the crazy polymorph before disposing it out the airlock. With the heats concluded, we have 28 robots already set in the bracket, but there's 4 places left to decide. Tonight it's time for those third place finishers that fought well but didn't quite secure their qualification to take on one another to take those remaining berths. Before we run through the intros though, we do have 2 wildcards to dish out, and while past David would have loved to leave everybody in suspense going into this episode, our series champs all decided to falter, leaving us with Tantrum, Agro-Wobber and Panic Attack as our choices for the final spots. After much deliberation and a couple of rattlers, it's been decided that the defending champs Tantrum will get one more chance to get their title defence back on track, as will Series 1 champions Panic Attack after their close JD losses in the heat left them on the outside. With one champion well and truly eliminated now, let's see who else is fighting tonight.
First, from Mountain View, California, seeded number 1, reigning champion, Tantrum.
They may be the reigning champs, but their defence has been anything but smooth, and with damage still lingering from Reading, this lifeline may be short-lived.
From Brisbane, Chompy.
The Aussie grabber gave a balanced display of good control and bad control in the Speedy Heat L, but they'll need a repeat of their international form to get themselves back in the bracket.
From Denver, Colorado, Copperhead.
Our rookie drum spinner upset the 10th seed's Monsoon in their heat, but showed some surprise invertibility problems that they'll need to dodge tonight.
From Birmingham, Cowtools.
After their top 4 and LEGO Wars champions, Cowtools has continued to show they're a hard nut to KO in the heats, but could do with Minimilk lasting more of the fight to edge them closer to victory.
From Glasgow, Crontsblo.
Formerly the only 4-bar in the series, Cront pulled themselves back into the play-ins after beating Polymorph and Chompy, and they have previous pedigree of escaping the play-ins, which could prove vital.
From Warrington, Flashover Delta.
Flashover are very unlucky to have to fight in the play-ins after losing their tiebreaker fight, but that disc has been mightily impressive this series and they will be favourites to make the bracket.
From Glasgow, Hospitalet.
Hosp is another robot tonight that was unlucky not to make the bracket outright, but their lifter is performing better than ever and will be one to watch.
From Oxford, Hypno-Disc.
The classic Robot Wars machine didn't exactly spin to win in their heat as their OK pushing power sunk Bishop, but they're in danger of being easy prey amongst the other challenges.
From Yeovil, Ice Climbers.
These two were extremely hyperactive in their heat as they bullied Panic and Harold, but they haven't shown knockout potential, and if one goes down the other could be easy pickings.
From Brisbane, Muffin.
The tantruming doggo once again ruined Jevon's day by pitting the 4th seed Shatterstar and could be a dark horse for making the bracket.
From the Isle of Sheppey, New York Slice.
Back-to-back KOs in the second half of their heat helped LEGO Wars' other pizza spinner get into the play-ins as they're banking on just their bar spinner to smash through the field.
Don't hit the paint!
From Cumbrana, seeded number 11, Panic Attack.
Of the champions that finished 4th, Panic arguably has the biggest argument for their wildcard position after controversy in their heat, but it's up to them to make good on this reprieve.
From Spanish Fork, Utah, Scarlet Serpent.
The Trax grabber is arguably responsible for the demise of Wobber in Series 5, but they're another robot that lacks KO potential and their head does like exploding.
From Bournemouth and seeded number 7, Waddledee Meta.
The second Wars champs were the only series winners, so at least make the play-ins on merit, but their spinner has been playing up and that could cost them tonight.
From Neri in Northern Ireland, Weld-Dor M.
For an old design, Weld-Dor once again showed it can still win in the series and could be a thorn in the side for the more destructive machines.
From Toronto, the Zoidy Blu.
After 2 years of disappointment, Zoidy finally has the bracket within reach again as he looked to seize the opportunity of a long overdue deep run. We've drawn our 16 machines via the most professional system possible, we'll decide, so let's see how our first 4 fights line up. Hypno-Disc will kick off the action tonight against Chompy, followed by the 11th seed's Panic against the 4-bar Crontsblo. There's potential chaos in store in Fight 3 between Flashover and Ice Climbers before Dragon and a Cow do battle with Serpent and Cowtools. We'll see how the rest line up in a little bit as we get on with the action.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
All the heats have been and gone. It is time for the serious matter of crowning a new LEGO Wars champion in a few weeks' time. Oh yes, folks, it is not that far away, but first we have to finish off our bracket places with the play-in, starting off with Hypno-Disc and Chompy. Hypno-Disc 3rd place in Heat H, Chompy 3rd place in Heat L. I wonder if they'll be taking the L here. I wonder. Hypno-Disc, of course, did okay for a debut campaign, but they didn't quite have the firepower they required. The spin-up time on that weapon is abysmally slow. Chompy, of course, a little bit unlucky with a poor, couple of fights. Could have ended so much better for them. They took damage, of course, in that first fight, if you remember. They lost against Guardian as well. Drove down the pit. They could have easily qualified in the heat themselves, but they're doing a very good job over here of dealing with Hypno-Disc's potential in the arena. Hypno-Disc has got a little bit of grip at the front. The rear end slides around like nobody's business. It's like a bobsled, really. Is a bobsled slide? I feel like it doesn't. I feel that's a wrong analogy. But Hypno-Disc, what issue it does have is the rear wheels fall off, and another issue that they've got is they're down the pit. That was far too easy, and the rookies were exposed there. Chompy go through to the next round of the play-ins. Well, the strengths of Chompy were very much exaggerated in this fight, and indeed the weaknesses of Hypno-Disc as well. Chompy were able to clamp down on the slow spin-up speed of Hypno-Disc and control the fight from the get-go. They never really got in with the weapon, did they, Hypno-Disc? The back wheel fell off, as has been tradition throughout the series there against the screws, and one simple push pushed Hypno-Disc out of the competition.
I can hear some classic Robot Wars fans screaming into the distance as Hypno-Disc is out after their spinner troubles prove terminal. Next up, it's Panic Attack v Crontsblo.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
Away we go for fight number 2 of the night, and our first champion appearance of the night. Panic Attack, our Series 1 champions, the OG, finished 4th in Heat F. And last week, of course, we saw Crontsblo finish 3rd in Heat N. Two very similar styles of robots who control bots. Panic Attack with a good lift there immediately on the mini-bot Squire. Of course, Squire had its uses in the heat, didn't they? But not in this fight thus far. Panic Attack and Crontsblo go face to face. Crontsblo, I think, with a slightly superior geometry at the front to kind of get in underneath their opponent. Panic Attack using those lifting forks. They're pushed slightly underneath the robot. That's why it's able to manoeuvre quite quickly on the spot there. Did you see that? It's not, the front wheels aren't on the floor, so it doesn't have to break traction as hard, but it is a lot more slippery as a result, and that has meant that Crontsblo has got Panic Attack up against the arena wall. Of course, don't forget the rules tonight. There are no second chances. There are no round robins. If you win, you are in. If you lose, you are out of the competition. It is that simple, and Panic Attack will be hoping to not suffer the ignominy, sorry if I can get my words out, of going out before the bracket. As far as I can remember, Panic Attack have never, ever, to my knowledge, failed to make the bracket. I may be wrong. I often am. But Panic Attack are a seasoned veteran. They are the Series 1 champions, and it would be an almighty shock, in my opinion, if we don't see them at least make it to the round of 32. Off comes the, I think, superficial front plate of Crontsblo, but they won't mind that. It's more for form than function. And in comes Crontsblo once again, pinning Panic Attack against the arena wall, and Squire's got them boxed in as well. Good combination work between the two. And now Crontsblo using that lifter to leave a Panic Attack up. It is a slow lifter, but it has got the capability of lifting Panic Attack up like this. Can it get it all the way over? I don't think they've got enough travel look in the lifting mechanism to kind of turn Panic Attack over. They won't mind that. Panic Attack. Tricky one to decide so far. Panic Attack trying to get those forks in underneath the Lemmings shodded Squire once again. Once again, folks, the Lemmings are very, very dead. We don't want them back. Crontsblo pushing Panic Attack slowly towards the pits, and on the very lip of the pit, the former champions, can they get away? They were given the nod by the judges over Agro Wobber on the basis that they had a slightly more convincing run in their heat, and I think they were a bit unlucky to even be in this position, to be honest with you, Panic Attack, and I think quite controversially in this position, but that's just me. I'm not, a judge, as I said many times on these episodes. So far, I think Panic Attack have given a good account of themselves, but have they given enough of an account of themselves? Because they are going to go to time with Crontsblo, and it hasn't been a particularly stellar fight for either of these two. Panic Attack is slowly coming apart at the end. We are going to go to time, and our judges will have to decide between these two. Tough match to call this. Well, Panic Attack started off the stronger of the two, lifting up Squire and pinning them against the arena wall. Crontsblo responded very well, able to pin Panic Attack, and Squire even got back involved in the fight. And I'll have to say, neither of these two kind of grabbed the initiative in the fight. It was very close and tentative, and I think cautious between the two. They both know what's at stake. If they lose, they go out, and I think that kind of set the tone of the fight, really. Two very good controlled robots. It'd be a shame to lose either of them. I have no idea who's going to win this one.
And the winner by split decision is Crontsblo. It feels pretty fitting that Panic's campaign ends in another split decision as a second former champion has fallen. Let's see if there's any more dramas as Flashover takes on the Ice Climbers.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Fight number 3, and straight away the Ice Climbers go straight out. Flashover Delta there, straight out of the traps. Good box rush there, attempted box rush anyway, but the Ice Climbers, of course, we saw them in Heat G and not Heat F as I thought earlier on because the notes were incorrect that I was given for Panic Attack. They, of course, beat the former champions and pushed them down into 4th place in the heat. Flashover Delta were in Heat K, finishing 3rd in that heat in that epic 3-way final rumble where they were turned upside down by eventual heat runner-up Brick Astley, who, of course, went down the pit in that fight. Ice Climbers will do very well here, in my opinion, to get past Flashover, although Flashover have been known to suffer an upset in the past to a, let's say, a more visually stimulating robot. You know, of course, they lost to Mr. Waffle in International, I believe it was, after a brilliant return to form in that competition. They've done very well once again this series, and there goes the hood of Nana of the Ice Climbers. They'll be wary of the damage being accumulated on both of the twins here. As I was saying though, Flashover returning to this series with an all-new robot. That weapon has proven to be very, very effective. Has to be said though, the Ice Climbers are also very effective and have got immense pushing power. Look at this! Pushing back on Flashover. Flashover Delta pinned against the arena wall. The Ice Climbers are absolutely hyperactive and bananas, it has to be said. They are brilliant to watch in the arena, brilliant to see. This is not going to be an easy task for Flashover, although Flashover is, I would say, on top thus far, causing all kinds of damage to the Ice Climbers and more there. Look, something come off the bottom, like I think it's the mounting plate, I think, for the forks, which has now been ripped away. In fact, the forks in general have just been ripped away on Nana. Popo's still trying to get that weapon into play. Flashover Delta playing with Popo while Nana opens the pit, although I think that wheel on Nana is coming off, isn't it? Look, it's certainly a lot looser than it was at the start of the fight, and I think a couple of impacts from that Flashover weapon could leave it ripped off. Look, it's the one on the left of your picture at the moment. Now on the right, it's the one the side of the axe on the red Ice Climber. It's definitely, look, it's bowing in the wind there, look, it's almost coming off. And Popo stuck against the arena wall. They've speared the wall with their forks, the only Ice Climber with forks left. I do wonder if they will be counted out sooner rather than later, although Flashover comes in for an attack. That's a brilliant attack from Flashover. Off comes a panel, or a piece off the back, and Popo is stuck on the arena wall still. Popo in all kinds of trouble. Nana now, the sole focus of attention of Flashover. Can Flashover finish off Nana? Popo, I think, has been counted out and immobilised. I certainly think they've been there for longer than 30 seconds. We're going to go to time, though, between Nana and Flashover Delta, so we are going to go to the judges. I do wonder if Popo being immobilised is going to compromise them when it comes to the decision, though. We'll have to wait and see. Well, truthfully, I think the tone was set very early on with this fight because Flashover Delta was the one dictating the pace of the fight and indeed how it would end up. The damage was accruing every single time that weapon of Flashover came into contact with the Ice Climbers, and to their credit, the Ice Climbers never gave up. They kept pressing and harassing where they could do, but there's just so many times you can keep going at your opponent and just getting smacked around before you have to give up. Surely there's only one winner.
And the winner, by unanimous decision, is Flashover Delta. With one climber stuck in the wall and another being thrown around, we say goodbye to the Ice Climbers this series as Flashover makes amends from their sudden death blunder. They'll face the winner of our next bout between Scarlet, Serpent and Cowtools.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Halfway through then the first round of matches in the play-in matches, and we see Cowtools taking on Scarlet Serpent. Scarlet Serpent finishing 3rd in Heat F, Cowtools finishing 3rd in Heat E, and Cowtools, of course, had that excellent run in LEGO Wars. Was it Champions they had a good run in? Can't remember. Oh, but there goes the chain of the weapon of Cowtools almost from the get-go, and that now leaves Scarlet Serpent with a huge advantage in this fight. Scarlet Serpent now the only robot with an active weapon. Of course, Cowtools has Mini Milk and the Mini Bot in there as well, but without that main weapon of Cowtools, it is limited somewhat in what it can do to their opponents. Cowtools up against it. Of course, they beat Tantrum, of course. And maybe it was in All-Stars. I can't remember. Or was it Champions? It was one of those tournaments. It was a long time ago now. I've slept since then. But Scarlet Serpent doing a very good job so far, using the crushing arm to great effects. Mini Milk comes back in for a little attack as well, trying to disrupt Scarlet Serpent. And now a good push from the pair, combining well. Scarlet Serpent trying to get round to the side and the back of Cowtools. And there it goes, face to face. Cowtools swings round, escapes to the centre of the arena. In goes Mini Milk, trying to get in underneath Scarlet Serpent. Of course, we saw Scarlet Serpent's head get completely obliterated, didn't we, in the heats? If you remember back that far. Of course, happened against Ganymede, I believe. And here they were hoping to avoid a similar fate. They're going to avoid a similar fate because Cowtools' weapon currently not working due to the fact that they haven't got a chain for it. Tentative fight now ensuing. Scarlet Serpent trying to come in on the attack with the crushing arm at the front on Mini Milk. Mini Milk a little bit sluggish on the uptake, but is keeping Scarlet Serpent honest here. And I have to say, the combination of Cowtools and Scarlet Serpent working very well together. And then there goes the crushing arm on the top of Cowtools. It has caused damage, but not anything major, only superficial damage. Pushed back there by Mini Milk is Scarlet Serpent. Scarlet Serpent now pinned over by the screws, gets away. Mini Milk and Cowtools working together to keep Scarlet Serpent boxed in, and despite the lack of weaponry or active weaponry for Cowtools here, this is a very, very solid performance from them. They're doing a good job of keeping the fight interesting, and, well, I say interesting, it's a very slow-paced fight, I can't deny it, but they're doing a good job of staying competitive in the fight, and they're going to go to time here between Scarlet Serpent and Cowtools. Well, who wins between a snake and a cow? We're going to have to leave that to our judges because they couldn't decide it in the arena. Scarlet Serpent couldn't capitalise on a weapon failure for Cowtools, and it goes to the judges. Well, it wasn't a collector's item fight, was it? But I have to say, a decent job from Cowtools and Mini Milk to keep the fight competitive and vaguely interesting. There went the weapon chain very early on Cowtools, which meant no horizontal spinner from then on in. And Scarlet Serpent did get a few grapples, but not many. Cowtools was really the one controlling the pace of the fight, pushing Scarlet Serpent around due to their lack of traction with the tracks. Tough one to call for the judges, this.
And the winner, by unanimous decision, is Cowtools. Despite the early chain snap, Cowtools ground out the victory to complete this half. Now let's move to the second half of our first round tonight, and as we can see, there's more spinner fun between New York Slice and Weld-Dor M, followed by two underrated machines of Hospitaller and Muffin, before Copperhead and Zoidy end this first round. But first up, there's a titanic head-to-head between our remaining champions, Waddledee and Tantrum. This isn't the first time these two have fought. After a close battle in Series 3's quarterfinals ended in victory for the then defending champs Waddledee. With Tantrum vastly improving and then falling from grace, it'll be interesting to see how things play out this time.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
This was definitely the marquee fight noted down at the first round of the play-ins, wasn't it? Let's face it, two former champions, Waddledee Meta, the Series 2 champion, Tantrum, the Series 4 champion. Both of these two crashing out in their heats. Waddledee Meta finishing third, Tantrum finishing a lowly fourth, and the former champions, Waddledee Meta, will smell blood here against the current ones. Can Tantrum turn their series around from here? It'll be an almighty turnaround if they are able to do so. Tantrum, something's come off there on the middle of the arena floor. I'm not entirely sure what it is. Is that a weapon chain? I'm not sure. Maybe it was. It looks like a weapon chain, doesn't it? Is that the weapon chain of Tantrum, I wonder? Because the Waddledee Meta weapon is spinning and the Tantrum weapon is not. Tantrum here already on the ropes. They've lost an eye. The other one looks forlorn as it kind of flops and dangles downwards, and the weapon itself has been shredded there by Waddledee Meta. The 7th seeds for LEGO Wars Series 5 against the number 1, and Tantrum here the champions of LEGO Wars Series 4 are in all kinds of trouble, and they need to do something and fast because the tide is coming in and they are absolutely still on the beach. They've not got going at all in this fight, and Tantrum here are in an absolute pickle. What do? They need to try and make, I think, already resort to just push Waddledee down the pit, but unfortunately for them, Tantrum, they are thermaling like crazy. They are having all kinds of control problems like they did in their heat, if you remember back all the way to Heat A. And Tantrum here are on the ropes. They need to do something and quick to turn the tide of this fight, otherwise they are in a mountain of trouble. Tantrum immobilised. Are they finished already here? The reigning champions, they're being counted down and out. Waddledee meta stands off. Is this the end of the Tantrum reign in a limp fashion? No! They are back and running again. And thank God they are too, because that would have been such a disappointing way for their premiership as champions to end. But they're still in with a chance here. They're trying to push Waddledee around, but they know they've got work to do. More damage sustained there on Tantrum. The fist of Tantrum ripped away, Tombstone-esque. But Tantrum here, they know they're in a real pickle and they've got to do something quickly, and I don't think they've got it in them, Tantrum. Something has just gone drastically wrong in LEGO Wars Series 5 for the reigning champions, and Tantrum do not look the same force that they did last series or in International, where they became the winners of that too. And Tantrum here in all kinds of trouble. The arm has been ripped off on the other side as well. We are counting down to time here. Waddledee circles into light because they know it. They know they've done enough. Tantrum here, their end of the championship reign could be over here, but we have to go to the judges to make sure that's the case. Well, I think the decision is going to be a little bit of a foregone conclusion in this fight, but I have to say Tantrum tried their very best. It's very obvious that they're struggling with some underlying gremlins, and they weren't able to correct that in time for the play-in matches. They tried their best, but Waddledee was too strong. They caused damage at the start. They lost the weapon chain. They tried pushing them around. They couldn't quite manage to get them down the pit like they would have wanted. In the end, Tantrum's premiership as LEGO Wars champion is cut rather short and not very sweet.
And the winner by unanimous decision is Waddledee Meta. In a fight that sums up their title defense, Tantrum's chain snaps immediately and then thermals into oblivion as their title defense ends here in a whimper. Let's see who the remaining champs will face as New York Slice takes on Weld-Dor M.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
Next up then, two robots who, let's face it, are pretty fortunate to be here. Weld-Dor M only here on the virtue that Nightmare drove the entire length of the arena to drive down the pit. How frustrating. They did also beat Tantrum in Heat A. New York Slice here by virtue of winning their final two fights when they were in Heat C. Can they continue their rookie run in LEGO Wars against a stalwart and a veteran? Weld-Dor M having a pretty decent series for the first time in a while, although I have to say they are a solid if not spectacular robot. Weld-Dor M, they are certainly a force to reckon with on their day, but I wouldn't say they're one of the favourites, so if New York Slice can't get past this fight, maybe it's a little bit of back to the drawing board and see what you can come up with next series, I think, for them. New York Slice, though, will be hoping their bow into LEGO Wars doesn't end here. They can continue for another few fights just yet. Weld-Dor M, I think, has the geometry advantage in terms of the big wedge at the front in this fight. New York Slice, maybe the ground game advantage at the rear of the robot, using those forks to get in underneath Weld-Dor M like that, and then swing around and use the bar setup to kind of cause carnage to the underside, maybe, of Weld-Dor M. You know, as I said, the bar setup on New York Slice, they have abandoned their disc setup for the rest of the series, the teams say. This setup is much more efficient and effective at causing damage, so we'll be hoping for more carnage from New York Slice, but at the moment it's a good pin from Weld-Dor M, using that big wedge at the front to kind of stop New York Slice from getting into the centre of the arena and spinning that weapon like they have done now, but they go straight over the other side and hit the wall. Weld-Dor M goes for the pit button once, twice, 3 times. Come on, lads. 4th time's the charm. There you go, down it goes. New York Slice gets Weld-Dor M caught napping, and they push him straight down the pit. They open the pit, but push straight down, and New York Slice go through to the next round. What a win for the rookies. Well, it was a bit of a cagey start between the two, but in the end it was over so quickly. Weld-Dor M, I thought, had the early advantage, the more manoeuvrable and mobile around the arena. I said that they had the geometry advantage. I maintained that. However, they weren't able to utilise it when they eventually got the pit open, which took them several attempts, I have to say. They were caught napping by New York Slice, who pushed them straight down.
A somewhat drunken fight between these two as the pizza is still cooking for New York Slice. Next up, it's two of the stronger robots in this field tonight as Hospitaller takes on Muffin.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Away we go then for our penultimate fight of the first round of the play-ins. We have Hospitaller from Heat J and Muffin, of course, from Heat M. How has Muffin made it to this stage? Muffin! How are you here? How did they make it through at this point? And, Shatterstar didn't. Shatterstar didn't even get a win. How frustrating. Hospitaller, of course, I felt a little bit unlucky in Heat J. Of course, they were in the external heat, weren't they? That was it. And they couldn't quite manage to hold on to a automatic spot. They dropped out on the very last fight when they were pitted by Megalodon, if I remember correctly. Got a chance for retribution now as they take on Muffin. And Muffin, I've said every dog has its day, but are they going to have their day here? Because they're being lifted aloft by Hospitaller. Great lift there using that front flipper lifter arm of Hospitaller. Muffin holding on for dear life with those gnashing jaws at the front. I have to say they've been very effective throughout this series at causing various issues for lots of different robots, Muffin. But Muffin here will be hoping that they can get some kind of shock once again and another fight win under their belt, but they of course start disintegrating as soon as I say that, as is tradition for Muffin. But so far they haven't been outclassed by Hospitaller. Hospitaller will know they have to be wary, they will know they have to be careful, and they know what threat Muffin can pose because they have got some good pushing power in that little robot. Hospitaller need to be aware of threat that Muffin poses, and it is a threat that Muffin poses as well because it is a vicious creature in the arena, and they get in underneath Hospitaller there. Good ground battle there between the two, and Muffin gets in underneath the lifter now. Good pushback by Muffin. Hospitaller responds. The grip of those big chunky tyres as they pushed Muffin back, maybe towards the screws or maybe towards the open chasm that is the pit. Muffin, what have you done? You are caught out there, and Muffin resides in its kennel. The win goes to Hospitaller and they progress to the next round. Well, it's been another series of upsets for Muffin, but this was one upset they couldn't quite manage, although they tried their best. Hospitaller with a great lift here. Look at this, the technique on the lift and pushing Muffin all the way across the arena floor. Muffin holding on for dear life with its teeth at the front. They did try their best to keep aggressive, and they were effective in their ground game throughout the fight. They were able to push Hospitaller around. Maybe they could have sprung a surprise had things gone slightly differently. Not to be, though. A solid and spirited effort from Muffin, but it ends in the pit.
I can definitely hear some celebrations elsewhere in Norfolk as Muffin goes down the pit and out of the competition, leaving one space left to seal between Copperhead and Zoidy Blu.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Our final two playing contenders for tonight then. Zoidy Blu and Copperhead go face to face, and a great attack there from Zoidy Blu straight across the arena trying to get a grapple hold of Copperhead. Of course, Copperhead third place in Heat I, Zoidy Blu second place in Heat B. Also one of the joint highest point scorers who finished third this series with 7. Zoidy Blu, Copperhead, they ended up in their heat getting 6. Remember, all the way back to Heat I, and they will be hoping that they can progress their own rookie campaign in LEGO Wars by beating a veteran in Zoidy Blu. Zoidy Blu outlasted P1 to get to this point. Copperhead KO'd Monsoon and Hypershock. If you remember back in Heat I. What can they do though against Zoidy Blu? Zoidy Blu, a very different opponent to both of those two in that it's just very low, very sturdily built, and they're doing a bit more damage to themselves, I have to say, than to Zoidy Blu. And Zoidy Blu loves a nice, slow slug of a fight. They like to slow the pace of the fight right down, just control the match, because they are known to thermal quite a lot. Let's face it, they're kind of renowned for it at this point, but if they can slow the pace of the fight down to their level, then they will be very happy with that, and they will mean that Copperhead have got a lot of work to do. Copperhead pinned over by the arena wall and the screws. Good driving there from Zoidy Blu. Copperhead still stuck in that corner. They can't get out, can they? Good driving from Zoidy Blu, keeping them penned in there. The experience of Zoidy Blu on full display here, and Copperhead is now stuck on the screws. Gets down now. Back into attack there. Copperhead, good push there. Copperhead almost turned the fight around there, and Zoidy Blu on the very rickety edge. They both nearly went down there. They both dipped a wheel over the pit, didn't they? But neither fell. And the fight continues. Zoidy Blu definitely on top for me. Copperhead stuck against the arena wall. You can see the driver of Copperhead trying to get some signal to Copperhead, but nothing doing there. And Zoidy Blu once again jamming that weapon and pushing Copperhead back. Brilliant stuff from Zoidy Blu. This is one of the best fights we've seen from Zoidy Blu in quite a while, I think. Copperhead now up to speed again. Can it bring that weapon into play? Zoidy Blu looking so far to me to be on top. Can Copperhead turn the fight around? I say 2/3 of the way through the fight, and I'd say Zoidy Blu has won both of those thirds thus far, and they're so far setting off to win the third as well. Should we go to time here between the two? I'd say Zoidy Blu is definitely the one that's on top. Good push there on Copperhead, pushed against the arena wall. Copperhead now pinned between the arena wall, Zoidy Blu and the pit. It's not a place they want to be because Zoidy Blu could easily push them straight down. The rookies this series, Copperhead, have had a decent run in LEGO Wars Series 5, but maybe they've met their match in Zoidy Blu, and we are going to get a time here between Copperhead and Zoidy Blu. Our judges will have to decide between the two of them who gets our last place in the second round of the play-ins. It goes to the judges for our last spot in the next round, and Copperhead and Zoidy Blu will wait with bated breath. Well, Zoidy Blu made their intentions very clear from the get-go. They charged straight across the arena and grappled with Copperhead and never really gave them a chance to kind of settle into the fight. They did get buffeted around a couple of times by the drum, but really, it was one-way traffic. Zoidy Blu was the one pressing the issue throughout the fight. Copperhead got stuck on the screws at one point. They both nearly ended up down the pit of oblivion, but both survived. And I think Zoidy Blu were the one showing their experience over the rookies Copperhead, who struggled.
And the winner by unanimous decision is Zoidy Blu. The claws take damage for the first time in a long time for Zoidy, but as ever their control was enough to take them into the next round, giving us our remaining robots in the running for the bracket. First up for the deciders, it's Chompy v Crontsblo, as the latter aims for revenge after their most recent international.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
Well, both of these two have won their first fight of the night. Can they win fight number 2 and therefore get their place in the bracket as they would have liked? Chompy, of course, beating Hypno-Disc, pushing them down the pit. Crontsblo beating a former champion in Panic Attack. No disgrace there. And probably the more difficult of the two opponents beaten in the first round, but that means nothing here. A win for either of these two, they make it to the bracket. Lose and you are out. It is that simple. And Crontsblo and Squire teaming up on Chompy, trying their best to scupper Chompy's path to maybe LEGO Wars greatness. Who knows? They have it in them, I think, Chompy to win the title. Does Crontsblo? I don't know. But certainly they'll be hoping to beat Chompy and earn that right to a place in the bracket. And almost there, I thought Squire was just going to get pushed down the pit by Chompy. Doesn't get it. Chompy now gets to the side of Crontsblo. Crontsblo reversing, backs straight into Chompy, front to front. The ground game of Chompy is very good, as we know, but Crontsblo pushes back. Chompy pinned against the wall. Of course, Chompy coming third in Heat L. And last week, of course, we saw Crontsblo finishing third in Heat N and almost down the pit. I thought there again, Squire gets away. Can Squire be of any use? Can they stop Crontsblo in their tracks? Crontsblo face to face with Squire, lets them go, backs down. Crontsblo back and retreating from Chompy. Chompy now pinned against the rear wall. Squire couldn't get underneath. Crontsblo got underneath there though. That was a good attack again. Look at that. I think their ground game might actually be slightly better with the hinged wedgelets on either side of the lifter. And now look, good combination again. Squire pushing Chompy into Crontsblo, and Crontsblo is now caught against the arena wall, being pushed and pinned there by Chompy. Chompy gets in underneath Crontsblo now. Can they drag maybe the green and white machine towards the pit? I don't know. Keeping them pinned in there is Squire, doing a very decent job of being a nuisance in the arena. Cagey battle this. Both of these two know that one mistake and it's all over for them. They'll be out of the competition. Neither of them want that. They both have aspirations of winning the title. Good push here by Chompy. Crontsblo navigated by the top of the arena. Good push again by Chompy, I thought there. Again, Squire gets away for the third time in this fight from the pit, but now they combine. Crontsblo and Squire push Chompy into the arena wall, and up goes the lifter of Crontsblo. Doesn't have any purchase on Chompy, however. Chompy navigates away and escapes the trap. Back into the safety of the centre of the arena, now to the side of Crontsblo. Good fight this between these two. A good tactical and canny fight, instead of tacty, as I was trying to combine the two words into some kind of awful portmanteau.
6.
Time has been called between Crontsblo and Chompy. We are going to go to the judges between these two. What a difficult decision to make. Well, it was tense and tentative between these two, wasn't it? Chompy initially with the better ground game attacks, I thought, getting in underneath Crontsblo on a number of occasions, and I think their weapon was slightly more effective. We didn't really see much of the Crontsblo lifter throughout this fight, and I thought that Squire's effectiveness was somewhat limited. They were almost pushed down the pit several times. Here's another example of that, as I mentioned that. Tough one for the judges. I think Chompy just for me, but it's very close to call this.
And the winner by split decision is Chompy. Jevin gets a third robot into the bracket as Chompy just grabs onto victory. They'll line up in the bottom left hand corner of the bracket where a certain lifting veteran awaits. Now it's Cowtools' chance to snag the wheels on Flashover Delta.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
Away we go then for the second round match between Flashover Delta and Cowtools. Cowtools just about scraping past the Scarlet Serpent without a weapon. Flashover Delta dismantling the ice climbers, winning via the judges after a dominant display for 3 minutes. Of course, Mini Milk in there as well will try and provide a nuisance more than anything against Flashover Delta. Cowtools tries to bring that weapon into play on the wheels, doesn't get it. Cowtools retreats to the centre of the arena to get in underneath that Flashover side panel. Can they swing the weapon around? Yes, they can, and off comes one of the ramps at the front of Flashover, but over goes Mini Milk. Mini Milk upside down and in all kinds of trouble. Is that the end for Mini Milk? I think it could be, and Cowtools now is up against it, although they have managed to sweep off another one of those ramps at the front, and there goes the final one. So Flashover now have no ground game, and it's all on Cowtools now to secure the bag, I think. Flashover are in trouble here and being pushed back by Cowtools despite losing the mini, but I think are just about on top. Good recovery this from Cowtools. We didn't see much of the weapon in the last fight. The chain broke almost instantly. The pit button has been completely eviscerated by Flashover. Of course, don't forget tonight, if you win, you're in. If you lose, you go home, and Cowtools doing a decent job here of upsetting the odds, I think, because I think Flashover has the potential to win this entire competition. Cowtools, maybe not, but they're still doing a very, very good job, and they've proven to be an upset in the past, and they're doing a great job of pinning and boxing in Flashover Delta. Flashover need to do something, and they're pushing Cowtools inexorably towards the pit. Cowtools stuck between Flashover and the pit. They get away now after a little bit of breathing room is given to them by Flashover Delta, but Flashover comes back in on the attack with the spinning weapon, stops and then restarts again. Damage now being sustained by Cowtools. Cowtools pushing Flashover into the screws. About 2 minutes into the fight, about a minute left to go. Cowtools' weapon back up to speed. Who's on top here? The judges will be marking a weapon effectiveness, control and aggression between these two for a place in the LEGO Wars Series 5 bracket. Good impact there, and damage sustained by Cowtools. Good attack by the mighty weapon of Flashover Delta. They are starting to rack up a few points now, but Cowtools, they're trying their best, but they're really struggling to manoeuvre across the arena because look, that wheel, look, is horrifically bent, and it is really affecting their manoeuvrability. A chain has come off as well. I think that might have come off of Flashover. It's been eaten by Flashover. I'm not too sure. Flashover definitely finishing the stronger of the two, and the manoeuvrability of Cowtools has been compromised here. They're stopped in the middle of the arena. They've been pushed against the back wall. We are going to get a time there between the two. Cowtools is going to survive, but I have no doubt in my mind that the lasting impression will be Cowtools struggling to translate across the arena.
6.
Flashover finishes the stronger, but it's going to go to the judges between Cowtools and Flashover Delta. What a great fight! A great back and forth between two contrasting weapon styles here. Cowtools, the early aggressor, I thought, and despite losing Mini Milk very early on, which will count against them, they were the ones causing the damage to Flashover, which massively hampered its effectiveness in the arena. The loss of those ramps was crucial. The pit button being destroyed by Flashover, not really a factor in the fight. The pit never came into play, and Cowtools were bossing it until this moment here. The loss of the drive side for Cowtools could prove crucial with the judges.
And the winner, by unanimous decision, is Flashover Delta. With Cowtools' frame completely split underneath, Flashover Delta's charge to a debut bracket appearance is complete. Their reward is the top right hand corner of the bracket against a dangerous breakfast. With 2 spots left to decide, let's move on to the penultimate fight of the night between Hospitaller and Zoidy.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
30 places filled in the bracket, 2 remain. Zoidy Blu taking on Hospitaller for the penultimate spot in the bracket, and straight away they're using that kind of wide grabbing frame again. Zoidy Blu to kind of impact their opponent. Zoidy Blu did a very good job doing a number of on Copperhead, of course, in the last round. Hospitaller defeating our beloved Muffin. Oh, it's such a shame to see them go. But so far, Zoidy Blu grappling hold of Hospitaller, once again trying to slow the pace of the fight down, as they are wont to do. They want that to happen because they don't want to be thermaling in the arena. They want to be able to just control the fight on their terms. Hospitaller will try and get round to the sides and try and leave a Zoidy Blu off the floor, maybe push them down the pit. Although Zoidy Blu will have a similar thought in mind when it comes to trying to throw Hospitaller down. A pit button has been activated by Hospitaller, being pushed into it maybe by Zoidy Blu. Zoidy Blu grappling hold of that front wheel and the flipper. Will they have to release? Yes, they do, and gets away Zoidy Blu. Good turn of speed from them. Hospitaller a little bit more sluggish in response. Flipper goes the wrong way, or the lifter at the front, I should say, goes the wrong way. Zoidy Blu now pinned against the arena wall. Hospitaller gets in underneath, and a good lift there from Hospitaller. Good control by Hospitaller as well, getting in underneath. Both these two looking for a place in the bracket for the first time in a while for both of these two, I think. Can't remember how long ago exactly each of these two made it. Off the top of my head. Hospitaller haven't been there since Series 3. Zoidy Blu haven't been there since Series 2. It's a long time ago now. Both of these two will be hoping for a run at the bracket in LEGO Wars Series 5. Good control again from Zoidy Blu, grappling hold of Hospitaller. Good grapple and embrace from those arms at the front. Hospitaller pushes back. Into the arena wall goes Zoidy Blu. About 2 minutes gone again. Another minute to go. So far, who would you say is on top? It's pretty even Stevens, isn't it, between the two? I'd say probably just about Zoidy Blu, although they now starting to suffer a little bit of thermal cutout issues, and they've been pushed onto the arena spikes by Hospitaller. Hospitaller now trying to turn the tide of the fight, and they have started to do so. They did get a couple of lifts in early on. I think Zoidy Blu have been slightly more in control since then, though, and from the get-go. Oh, it is close. A good lift again from Hospitaller. Doesn't quite get fully in underneath, but Zoidy Blu is quite a slippery customer. Zoidy Blu stops once again. A good lift once more from Hospitaller. All points on the board. Weapon usage, weapon effectiveness will be taken into consideration by the judges. Zoidy Blu grappling hold once again as we go to our last 10 seconds, and the judges will be called into action once more between Zoidy Blu and Hospitaller, unless there's a massive change in the last couple of seconds. There isn't.
6.
We go to time. Zoidy Blu and Hospitaller, not the most thrilling fight in the world, but it does go to the judges. Well, it wasn't a thriller between the two, but it was a very tense and tactical fight once again. Zoidy Blu tried to slow the pace of the fight down and did succeed in doing so, but Hospitaller did respond quite well. They opened the pit button by dragging Zoidy Blu, or were they pushed? Not entirely sure. The lifts from Hospitaller did become more frequent as the fight went on. Zoidy Blu, again, struggling with that infamous thermal cutout that they tend to have. Tough one for the judges to decide this.
And the winner, by unanimous decision, is Hospitaller. It may not have been the most energetic display Hosp has shown this series, but they've righted the wrong from the heat to take a space in the bracket, right next to the top ranked robot this series. No pressure, that leaves one more spot left to fill, so let's see if Waddledee can defend the honour of their fellow fallen champs, or can New York Slice end tonight's action with an upset.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. activate.
Away we go then for our final fight of the night, and our final berth in the round of 32 is up for grabs between Waddledee Meta and New York Slice. And there, good impact from Waddledee Meta, of course, one of 3 champions in the play-in tonight. They're the only ones left standing as they take on the rookies, New York Slice. New York Slice getting past Weld-Dor M. Waddledee defeating this series number 1 seed Tantrum, and there goes, all kinds of damage sustained by New York Slice. The rear bumper split in 2 and a wheel shredded off of New York Slice. Waddledee Meta in the play-ins has come good here, the 7th seeds before the competition started, looking absolutely in pole position to win this one. New York Slice, bless it's trying to open the pit on one wheel because they know they are in all kinds of danger now. Waddledee Meta stands off. Good pit button press though by New York Slice. The rest of that front arm has been ripped asunder. Oh, New York Slice, my sweet summer flower, I think it might be too late for you. And New York Slice, they've tried their best in their rookie series, but they have met a very, very good Waddledee Meta. Have recovered well.
6.
Down the pit goes New York Slice. They drove themselves down. Waddledee Meta wins and get into the bracket at the round of 32. Well, the first impact from Waddledee Meta really did set the tone, didn't it? New York Slice tried their best, but the rookies came up against an opponent that was just a little bit too strong for them in the end. New York Slice's rear end ripped away, the wheel falling off, and despite some heroics, they managed to open the pit on one wheel brilliantly with some astute driving. They sustained more damage from Waddledee Meta before driving down the pit that they opened so skillfully themselves. Waddledee Meta the winner, and going through to the bracket.
An emphatic display from the Series 2 champs as they take the last spot in Series 5's bracket. It's been a long night of action in the arena as we've said goodbyes to the champions and veterans alike this series, but at last the bracket is set. That's all from us tonight, but join us next time as we begin the round of 32. For now though, I've been your host, David of Smeg, and we'll see you in the next one.
Switches! There were 12 exits. Why are they turned off?
Here we go. Ready?
Okay.
Move it. Well, you've just made more work for yourself, haven't you? That is the quickest turnaround of past over to future day I've ever seen.